I need to tell you. I want you to stop making this high stakes mistake when you are in a conversation as a leader. Now, we've talked about this a lot on the channel, and if you have found yourself being in high stakes conversations where you felt like the conversation did not go the way that you wanted it to go, I want to share with you one mistake you may be making so that you do not make this mistake anymore. If you are new to me, welcome. And if you're one of my absolutely amazing subscribers, welcome back, friend. This channel heavily focuses in on advanced communication skills and strategies that will help you to develop an unfair competitive advantage as it relates to other leaders, especially when you are communicating under pressure. If you are in a leadership role and you want to be the person that does not freeze when the pressure is on or when you are in the hot seat, this is the best and only channel here on YouTube that has over 1,100 videos that are dedicated to high stakes communication in a live format. Now, let me know in the comments below, what type of high stakes conversations have you been a part of? Put them in the comments below so we can talk about them and help our community to grow. When it comes to a hidden mistake or a mistake that people make when they are in high stakes conversations, I first want to define what a high stakes conversation is. Typically, actually, before I do that, let me know what you think a high stakes conversation is. Put it in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are when you hear the word high stakes. What do you think of? Now, I will share with you over the past 20 years in senior executive roles, when the word high stakes comes into play, there is majority of the time a lot of pressure associated with it. Meaning that all of a situation, your data, your conversation, all of it is on the line. Meaning that if you make a mistake and you do something incorrectly, it can cost you significantly. And this is why I'm so incredibly passionate about this topic, because I have seen countless leaders, women in leadership, I have seen men in leadership find themselves in situations where all of it was on the line. It was a high stakes conversation, but they completely lost it. And sometimes they cannot recover from it. So let me share with you one of the more common scenarios that comes up in high stakes conversations. What are the mistakes that I don't want you all to make? And if you come up with some mistakes on your end that you have seen people do in high stakes conversations, put them in the comments below as well. Now, I'm just going to share with you one today, even though there are many mistakes that come up specifically as it relates to high stakes conversations. And what I have noticed that happens in those very under pressure, high stakes moments is that people are not comfortable with silence in a conversation. Let me explain to you why this is an issue in general, but especially why this is an issue in high stakes conversations. Generally speaking, most people struggle with silence in a conversation. How many of you find it very awkward when a conversation goes quiet? Feels odd, doesn't it? Well, most people generally aren't comfortable with this. Now, if you factor that into a high stakes, high pressure situation, then people most of the time are definitely not comfortable with being around a group of people where silence is a part of the discussion. So let's break down as to why that is an issue. When you are in a high pressure situation, how do you act? How do you respond? Let me know in the comments below. When you've been under pressure, what are some of the things that you do? Do you become nervous? Do you speak faster? Do you become fidgety, meaning that you move around a bit? What do you do when you're nervous? If you are struggling with maintaining your composure when you're nervous, I can guarantee you that you are probably not going to be comfortable with silence in a conversation either when you are nervous or you are under pressure. Therefore, this is the reason why silence in a conversation will cost you greatly if you're not able to master it in a conversation. Because when you are in a situation where the stakes are there and everything is on the line, you already are psychologically in your mind at a very heightened state. And if you hear silence, your mind is trying to process information at a rapid pace. And you're trying to think very quickly of one, what to say, but then also two, you're trying to take in information. So your mind is going very quick. You're listening, you're trying to figure out what to say, you're trying to figure out what to say, you're listening, you're trying. And a lot of times that silence pretty much causes you to stop the listening process, stop thinking of what you have to say, and your mind is thinking, I don't want to do that. I need to keep going. I need to keep going. I need to keep going. I'm nervous already. I just need to get this out here. I need to get this out here. But this is the reason why this hidden mistake, this hidden communication mistake that people make in high stakes conversations costs them greatly. I'll give you an example of this. Salary negotiations is a very high stakes conversation. Most of the time, and a lot of the clients that I've worked with and a lot of the individuals I've worked with over the years, salary negotiations are something that people are just genuinely not comfortable with. Let me know in the comments below if you feel very comfortable with salary negotiations. If you do not feel comfortable with salary negotiations, you absolutely need to reach out to me immediately today on exciteexcellence.org, because I will help you to be able to negotiate your salary in a way that you feel a bit more confident and definitely comfortable with the process moving forward. But salary negotiations are a high stakes conversation, high pressure conversation. And I have seen people have these discussions and not be comfortable with that silent dead space. And they just talk themselves out of whatever that blessing is they're going to get in terms of a salary. They talk themselves out of it because they're not comfortable with silence. I've seen this happen many times. I've actually been a part of salary negotiations, and I've seen this happen. And when you find yourself in a situation where you have a salary, your income, your livelihood that is at stake, a lot of times people just want to go through it as quickly as they can, just so that they know they have the offer and they can start planning accordingly. I do not want you to do that. If you are following my content or subscribe to this channel, which hopefully by now you are, if you gain value here, then you absolutely do not want to be that person that continues to talk in rambles because you're not comfortable with silence. Silence itself is something that many people are uncomfortable with, but you can learn it. You can learn it. I've helped many of my clients be able to do this. My clients have been able to generate over $500,000 in increased salaries by negotiating them and using the strategies that we discuss in a one-on-one private session to help them be more comfortable with silence. If you are comfortable with silence, then you will put yourself in a situation where you stand out from everybody else. And I will tell you that if you are in a high stakes situation, an under pressure situation, and you have everything on the line, you absolutely do not want to be the person that does not stand out from everybody else. You want to be the person that stands out from everybody else. And being able to become more comfortable with silence is something that will absolutely help you to be able to do that. Now, I want to know from you, what are some high stakes, high pressure conversations that you have been a part of? And when have you noticed silence has been able to help you gain more leverage in a conversation? Put it in the comments below. Let me know what you have noticed. Now, I do want to say I apologize to my audience. I switched the titles for the lives today. The live title this evening was supposed to be for this morning, and this morning was for this evening. I was very busy getting my kids ready for school. I apologize for that, but we will be back. Both titles are still recorded, just at different times. But we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll go over a couple of other topics as it relates to making sure that you're able to communicate under pressure. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you are new to me, I go live here on YouTube between 7 to 8 times a week. And we go over different topics as it relates to high stakes, high pressure communication, and finding ways to help you be able to develop an executive presence, be that person that can handle setting boundaries and push back in a conversation, and gain the fundamentals that you need to be a high stakes communicator. Now, I have something special that I'm going to be releasing to you all this week, but I did want to let you know that there's a lot of playlists here on the channel that talk about the topics I just mentioned, and a couple of videos that I would encourage you to take a look at now before you leave the platform. If this is something you're serious about now, this channel is not a channel where we talk about dancing and doing silly things. So this is a channel that will change your life. This is the channel where you will change your life. If you can communicate under pressure, your life will change. And I take that very seriously. Therefore, if you look at any of my videos that talk about thinking on your feet, managing your emotions under pressure, managing your tone of voice, or maintaining eye contact and body language, that will be a great place, a fantastic place for you to get started as it relates to developing the skills that you need to be able to communicate under pressure. Let me know what challenges that you are experiencing right now. What are some issues that you are navigating right now as leaders? I am here to support you any way that I can. I remember the days when I was a senior executive where I found myself in a situation where I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't know what to do. And I understand how incredibly challenging that can be. That's why I'm here to support you. Please come to me with the hard situations, the hard, uncomfortable, complex scenarios that you are navigating that you simply don't know what to do on a professional basis. That's my expertise. So let me know what you all are struggling with, where your challenges are, and we'll talk about it. And depending on the question that you have, you're also welcome to put any of those questions in any of the comment sections on any video. But depending on the conversation or the question that you have specifically and the depth that is required, I will do a video just for you and give you a shout out in the video as well to give you some insight in terms of how you can navigate the challenging situation that you're dealing with. Now, I do want to also say this, that if you have something or an issue that you are dealing with and you do not want to put a public comment, that is okay. You are always welcome to reach out to me on any social media platform that I have accounts on. I will let you know that I do spend a bit more time here, of course, on YouTube with my amazing audience. I do spend time on LinkedIn and I do spend time on Instagram, even though for the past, I would say, couple of months, I have not been as active as I have been on those platforms, but things are going to change very quickly. But you're always welcome to reach out to me there. You can always email me at info@exciteexcellence.org or reach out to my contact us page to ask me something that may be a bit more sensitive that you don't want to necessarily discuss in front of everybody else. Now, I want to say hello and welcome to those of you watching the live today. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today. And if you've ever been in a situation where you were in a high stakes conversation and you were worried about the mistakes that you could potentially make, put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. All right, I want to say hello to Mackenzie. Hello, Mackenzie. Hope you're doing well today. Good to see you, friend. We just talked about one of the hidden mistakes that leaders make in high stakes conversations. And for those of you watching, I'm going to do a brief recap. The hidden mistake that you may be making in those high stakes, high pressure conversations has to do with mastering silence. Most people are not comfortable with silence in general. However, when you are in a high stakes, high pressure situation, you are going to be even more uncomfortable with silence because you're already going to be nervous because everything is on the line. I want to say hello to David Jones. Hello, David. How are you doing today? Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. And if you've ever been in a high stakes conversation, how did it go? And what do you think you could have done differently? Put it in the comments below. Let's talk about that. So we talked about that earlier. I've shared with you how using silence can help you, especially if you are in a leadership role, or even if you are not in a leadership role. If you are at a place where you are trying to negotiate your salary, being able to be comfortable with silence will help you tremendously. I have seen time and time again that majority of the people in the world are not comfortable negotiating your salaries. So much so that I have a video that is going to be a recorded video. It may be live, I haven't decided yet, about a group of actors, a part of a billion-dollar movie that did not negotiate their salaries. This is an issue for everybody, friends. This is not just individuals that are in leadership roles that worry about struggling to negotiate their salary. This happens to actors as well. And even though actors are not necessarily in my target audience, it's more so leaders, but I want you all to learn and understand how critically important it is to negotiate your salary. And being comfortable with silence is a huge part of that. And I want you to see what happens to people when they do not negotiate their salary, even though they may have been in a great situation where they could have. If you enjoyed this information, feel free to like and definitely subscribe to this channel. I'm here to support you in any way that I can. And if you're really serious about trying to change your life, then you want to subscribe to this channel. And if you're at the point where you're ready to transform your life, then you definitely want to work with me directly. I will help you be able to communicate more confidently and concisely under pressure so that you develop that unfair competitive advantage that most people do not have, especially as leaders. I'll see you all.